Okay, welcome back to Nick Lenz's Comic Corner, classic, known classic. This is episode number 1460 and Doubleshot number 1354. I got two trades from Greg Pak. Okay, first up, we're going to very recent stuff. We have Darth Vader, Volume 2, Into the Fire. Yes, it's a song called this too. This collects issues 6 to 11 of Darth Vader, Volume 3. Yep, 6 to 11. Yeah, after the events, now as you give it the cover, yeah. Pretty much the first issue is simply Palpatine punishing Vader for disobeying him. And failing his mission what happened in Empire Strikes Back. Yep, he gets punished. He gets a couple of his limbs blown off, he gets basically his cape is in tatters, and he got part of his face exposed too. And in further this punishment, dumped him on Mustafar. Yep, dumped him on Mustafar. And why Mustafar, you might ask? Because that's basically how, in a way, inadvertently, how Anakin Skywalker was turned into Darth Vader. Yeah, it happened in Revenge of the Sith. So, he pretty much, of course, leaves a lightsaber there, because it took away from him. Of course, he leaves there, just to make sure he's not defenseless. Whatever Weasel Master he is. And, of course, Vader also takes time to try to take on Palpatine's, Red Guard. Takes on the Grand Vizier, which I believe this is the same guy who appeared in the prequel trilogy. And let's see, what else was it? Oh yeah, basically try to kill them, and of course he fails because Palpatine is a little more smarter than he is, despite the fact that Vader is much younger than Palpatine. If you're curious, if you're asking me the question how old Palpatine is supposed to be at this point, I have no idea, because I don't think it's ever been stated how old Palpatine is. Vader had a pretty good idea because of how old he was in, well, of course, Revenge of the Sith. So he runs this guy called Orochi, I think his name is. So he pretty much goes on a quest to basically redeem himself in the eyes of the Emperor. So he gets new arm, new leg, goes to the ruins of the Techno-Union base, which he pretty much wrecked himself. Yeah, the place has been abandoned since the Clone Wars. So at this point, the place has been abandoned for 25 years. Yep, 25 years the place has been abandoned. And he uses it to basically make new legs for himself. He also reprograms a small little droid. You see those little, box-shaped droids that kind of look like the Jawa tanks you saw in New Hope. Yeah, the Death Star had one of these things, and apparently the Techno unit had one of these too, so he uses this thing to make himself a new leg and get himself a new arm. Then, of course, then after basically fighting off a special quest he was on, he pretty much is, he completes the quest, of course, he gets off Mustafar, and then he basically is, Palpatine basically forgives him for apparently betraying him because he failed his mission. Yeah, and, unlike in the case of the Bounty Hunters one, where that led directly into the events of, Rise War of Bounty Hunters, this one doesn't. Basically, it's kind of like Vader back to status quo. He basically is back into the graces of the Emperor. Also, you have this woman with this cloak thing. Yeah, she pops throughout this whole book. She looks like an Inquisitor. Yep, an Inquisitor. Now, the thing with this other guy is he basically just some strange looking alien. I don't know what species he is. Yep. But this book is great. And still got the same artist. I think it's the same artist. Rafael Incino, he's still the same artist for this book. And the cover art is done by Inky Lee, who does issues 6. 7 is done by Daniel Kuna. And the last 3 issues, 8 to 11, is by Aaron Kidder and Richard Issoff. Yeah. Oh, by the way, this is what Vader looks like after his little punishment by Vader. By the Emperor. Yep. This, of course, is really good. Give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Damn good book. Now, despite the fact that was very recent, we're going to go back in time to 2009 with The Incredible Hulk, Volume 1, Son of Banner, collecting issues 601 to 605 for Incredible Hulk. And Dark Reign of the List, all written by Greg Pak, of course. Yep. Now, most of this book's artwork is done by, basically the main book itself is done by Ariel Olivetti, who does the main artwork here, with also artwork by Danny Miki, Paul Pelletier, Elizabeth Brewster, Chris Simmer, Gustavo Kamakali, and Cam Smith. Now, this is put during the events of Dark Reign. And so basically, Bruce Banner is training his son Scar to kill him. How? Well, how about facing his own enemies? Well, first he has a ring fight with the Juggernaut. Yes, the frickin' Juggernaut. And then he fights Wolverine, briefly. But he ends up fighting Wolverine's son, Daken, which that was really cool. Also, the thing before he says his little things trying to kill the Hulk, he pretty much meets up with several superheroes who actually are not associated with Norman Osborn. When he calls his little bunker, he runs into the Fantastic Four, Colossus, Hercules, Wolverine, Spider-Man, Straxure, and also the... By luck, it could be Steve Rogers, but it's just basically based on the artwork. It's the Bucky Barnwood Soldier. It's a great panel, a great 2-page spread by the artist. So basically, Reed is actually in a good chunk of these issues, which is quite interesting because he's no friend of Bruce Banner's. This brings up though the fact that Bruce Banner doesn't trust Reed Richards that much anymore because what happened. Because this is still like 2 years after World War Hulk happened. He still has not fully regained his trust in Reed Richards. So there's that. And then aside from fighting, Daken and of course Juggernaut, he later of course fights Titanus, who he's no enemy of the Hulk from the 80s. He ends up fighting him and the Mole Man. Yep, the Mole Man. And at one point, you see Sakaar going to his teenage form. He's a lot more slimmer. Yeah, his basically non-beefy form you see here on the cover, it's just a slimmer form he's usually in. Yeah. There's him fighting the Hulk with Daken's arm. Yeah, and of course, Bruce Banner can't turn into the Hulk, but that's the main issues. Dark Reign list is simply put, basically with that one, it's like Norman Osborn's big plan is to basically reignite the Hulk, which he fails at doing. That actually gets fixed later on. And of course, you also have Bruce Banner in this book fighting the Carla Soft and Miss Marvel, and we have Sakaar fighting somebody else. Also in Dark Reign list, we also have this agent named Katie, who was agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., and she basically tried to arrest Norman Osborn, despite the fact she was in custody. And they're like, S.H.I.E.L.D. doesn't exist anymore. And she refused to work for Norman Osborn. Yeah. And it's like there's fighting in the actual Dark Reign list one shot. It's really freaking good here. Which it's actually pretty fun itself. Which the way they put it in here is that Dark Reign list is between issues 604 and 605. They also run into Harpy in here. Yes, Harpy. Of course, they think it's Betty Ross. Nope, it's not Betty Ross. They also team up with, of all people, we have this brief little thing where you have Sakaar fighting, Korg. And then we have Katie, who apparently is no, flame of his. And the way she says goodbye is quite interesting. After, because of course, in the very issue. And of course, the Harpy that's here, this is the Harpy. April thinking, is that Betty Ross? Nope. When she's back to human form, it's actually Marlo Chandler, Rick Jones' wife. Yes, Rick Jones, of course, he helps play with her. I'm like, Rick Jones, you lucky dog, get this smoking hot woman to be your wife. And of course, Katie herself basically just, gives information about the leader. And then before she goes, she gives Bruce a kiss. Because she likes him. Yeah, but that leads to 605 where you have Scar fighting Titanus. Yeah. But this, really good. Thoroughly enjoyed it for the start of Greg Pak's second run for the book. Yeah, second run. Yeah, next time my corner is going to be the start of his original run for the book. Which came a few years prior to this. This book is good. Give this book roughly a 9.5 out of 10. Yeah, and here's the thing when it comes to getting these books. excuse me, I'm going to be holding back on purchasing these books for a little while because of money issues. Though I do have one other book that just came in today. Yeah, because summertime, which means you have to cut everybody's hours back on my work, so I had to basically trim back on buying trades. So I do have one other trade just came in today, but that was one of my last trades I bought. Yeah. Of course, I got this thing used. Yeah, so pretty much the condition this in basically with like the dog ear pages. Yeah, this is how I got this book. Yep. Okay, so that's a particular review. Stay tuned for my next comic corner. We'll be discussing more Hulk. Okay, to the next video. Bye.